Hello, family. I want to make another video that was a follow-up of this first video here about No-See-Ums. And I wanted to go a little deeper this time because the first video was just an intro. And if you haven't seen it, I suggest that you go to it. It is the first video on this channel called No-See-Ums, The Real Bug Crisis Truth. However, what I want to do today is go a little deeper and look at a few more videos as well. And we're going to look at it a little fast. So you can always go to the videos yourself if you want to see it slower. But all I did was go to YouTube and I typed in No-See-Um in the search bar. And I did this on purpose. I wanted to be very ambiguous, very general, because I just wanted to see what was coming up underneath this keyword here. Now, you can always use Google. You can use your AI tool of choice. It doesn't matter. But I wanted to use YouTube because YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world still, and it's the #1 video platform in the world as of today. However, let's start off with the first video that I've chose. Now, what I've done is I've added these videos in tabs above, and I ordered them from the how do I say, the oldest video to the most recent video. And it's about 4 or 5 videos, I think 5 videos that we're going to go through. And I'm going to give my commentary on top of these videos. Now, my commentary is not facts. My commentary is not the law. I expect you to do your own homework, your own research, and add towards the conversation. This is all about having the conversation. So please put it in the comments. But there were some things that alarmed me and have been alarming for a while now, based on what these people are reporting about these bugs. And I thought this was interesting to start off 7 years ago, right here, if you can see it in the bottom. If you can't, let me scroll here. But 7 years ago, this is when this video came out on WANE, aka Wayne 15 News. And I thought it was very interesting what they said about these bugs versus what we're actually going through. So let's just go into it, and I'll give my commentary on top of it as we go through the video.
Little black bugs were out in full force this weekend, and hundreds of you told us that you woke up with red welts because of them. News Channel 15's Hannah Strong joins us now in studio with some answers about those mysterious bugs.
They go by many names. No-See-Ums, my new pirate bug, sandflies, but these bugs can fly and bite.
Yeah, the people who are suffering from them, we call them hell demons. I call them hell on wings. That's just my nickname for them, aka micro demons.
One of the biggest problems, though, is how small they are. They're called No-See-Ums because you often don't see them until it's too late. If you're outside, bug spray doesn't always work to repel these pests, so you should try baby oil or essential oils. Of course, the best bet.
Yeah, that's what a lot of us were told in the beginning when we started suffering from this. Baby oil doesn't work. Neither does Vaseline. You can put baby oil and Vaseline all over your body and they will still bite through the Vaseline and the baby oil. Heck, they will even bite you while you're submerged in the bathtub underwater.
That is to wear long sleeves and pants. Just like mosquitoes, these bugs thrive in standing water, so make sure you rid your property of anything that would collect water. Even if you're inside, you still need to watch for these bugs.
Since they are so small, they're
now, wait, hold on. I just noticed that right now. And that's the thing. Besides this video, I haven't seen the other videos. So I want to give you my live, raw commentary, right? My reaction to these videos from me watching the first time. This looks like a mosquito, not a No-See-Um. I could be wrong, but that looks more like a mosquito versus a No-See-Um.
Since they are so small, they're able, if you have your windows open and you have screens, these No-See-Ums are able to crawl through that screening because the mesh is not tight. If you are seeing these No-See-Ums in your home, you can take a bowl and fill it halfway with dish soap and half full of vinegar, and that'll help capture them.
Now, maybe he is telling what he knows and not what he's felt, what he's experienced. But what I got to say about that is...
What's this? I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it lies.
This is not true. That does not work. The whole bowl of vinegar with dish soap and whatever else things, remedies you may use, that does not work against the current crisis. Not 7, 10, 15, 100 years ago, whatever we're dealing with currently, that does not work. So do not let them trick you by you trying this, because a lot of us in the Facebook group, which I'm going to continuously refer to, and I would suggest that you check this group out if you're dealing with this. It's the most popular No-See-Ums Facebook group out right now. And a lot of us that are dealing with this, we've tried that and it does not work. So I just want to let you all know, hey, you can try what you want, but I think that the Facebook group and you digging into this yourself, you will learn the truth faster than you will watching these videos.
David also mentions moving around, or if you're sitting, turning on a fan. Since these bugs are so small, they can't take much wind, so the fan will kick up enough air to keep them away from you. It's also important to note these bugs.
Nope, the fan does not work. Yes, the fan works somewhat, but when I say the fan does not work, I'm saying it doesn't work in keeping them off of you. It may deter them, it may annoy them, but just like any other thing that is very persistent, and these are the most persistent and resistant bugs we have ever faced in our lifetime. I repeat, this is the most persistent and resistant bug we have ever faced in our lifetime. That when they get into air currents or you have a fan, some of them are so smart, they will use that fan or that air current to ride the wave, literally and figuratively, and get on you. Okay, so don't believe that fans just are the working solution for the situation.
Bugs do not carry diseases. You can read more about what we're seeing, why we're seeing more of these bugs in recent years than in past. That's right now on Wayne.com. You'll also find a video there explaining why the bites from these bugs hurt so bad. In studio, Hannah Strong, News Channel 15.
Now, I wonder if she's felt any of the bites from these bugs and how bad they hurt. Imagine being bit or stung by a bee or a ant, a fire ant, and it's everywhere and anywhere on your body at any time. It is absolutely torment. All right, now let's go to this next video. This one came out 2 years ago. It says right here, as you can see, 2 years ago, and it says 10 No-See-Ums facts, the Uber mosquito. They make mosquitoes look like houseflies. These things are more than Uber mosquitoes. These are rocket ship mosquitoes. Uber is transportation. These are a rocket ship to hell and torment.
Welcome to Animal a Day, and
I'm going to speed this up. Oh,
10 No-See-Ums facts, the Uber mosquito. 1. No-See-Ums, or biting midges, are a family of about 5,000 species in the fly order. 2. They're very small. They're of a similar size to mosquitoes, which is 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch, or 1 to 3 millimeters long. 3. They're found nearly worldwide, except in far north or south glacial regions. 4. Female No-See-Ums need to drink vertebrate blood to create their around 400 eggs at once. In order to drink that blood, they use their sharp, saw-like mouths to cut into flesh.
Now, that's one of the biggest things that I had to learn, and I'm sure many of you who are suffering from this had to learn too. And that's why their bites hurt so much. It's a combination. It's their saw-like ways of, instead of a mosquito, think of it as a needle poking into you, and a No-See-Ums is like a saw. On top of the fact that the saliva, whatever liquid that comes out that they need in order to digest or intake our blood, hey, forgive me if I'm not using the right perfect words or vernacular. It is what it is, but that hurts. Those two things are what creates that stinging feel that hurts like hell. And that's not the only feeling you're going to feel when you have these things in your life. There are many different feelings, and I don't mean feelings as in your emotions. I'm talking about the behaviors that they attribute. They make you feel all type of ways, and there are so many different factors involved. That's just one of them.
5. You probably don't even feel a mosquito when it bites you, and the bump it leaves only lasts a few days and is only a little itchy.
Yeah, right. The people who are suffering from this, we feel them. Now, a lot of you all who are not suffering from this and you are advocating for somebody who is suffering from them, you might not feel them, but they are there. They are everywhere. So the whole you might not feel them aspect, that's part truth, because if you don't feel them, then you're not as attractive, and you're not one of the unlucky ones, right? Who is basically infested by them. But the rest of us, we are infested by them, and we do feel their pain on a day-to-day basis.
No-See-Um bites, on the other hand, are much more painful, and the marks they leave on you can last weeks. A bite can also cause a serious allergic reaction in some people. 6. They don't solely drink blood, as nectar is another one of their favorites. There's even one known species that survives only on nectar, and there's some other species that prefer insects over humans.
Now, make sure you look at this picture closely. I know I'm stopping in the middle of the video, and I'm sure that annoys some of you all, but I have to do this for fair use, so that way this channel doesn't get taken down, or copyright strikes or copyright warnings and things like that, right? I'm striving to do a great thing for us all, but I do know that some people still will get offended and they still will attack. And that is the interesting part about this bugs, is you will be attacked by these bugs all day, every day, while you're still dealing with the normal or abnormal aspects of life of being attacked by other situations. But that's why I'm stopping, because I want to make sure that this is fair use.
Blood. 7. No-See-Ums aren't a common vector for human disease like mosquitoes, but they regularly carry diseases and parasites that harm horses, cattle, and deer.
That's a key. Let's quickly, parasites. That is huge. Parasites, right? These things are parasites. If you don't think they're parasites, please research. Do your research and look into it. These are flying parasites, regardless if the CDC or doctors, practitioners, whomever who is not dealing with them wants to classify them as something else. I personally classify these as parasites and superbugs.
8. They're susceptible to the cold, so they try to avoid air-conditioned houses. They're also so small that fans can easily blow them away.
So again, there's that fan part again, which is not completely the truth. As I mentioned before, they will ride the wave. And the whole cold air conditioning part, that only works so much. Many of us have been using air conditioners throughout the entire season, throughout all the seasons besides winter. So whether it's fall, spring, or summer, we're using air conditioners, and these things are fighting the air conditioners. They still will bite you through them. The key thing that we've also learned is, and again, don't take this for fact, this is just giving you some insight, right? But under 65 degrees, 64 degrees Fahrenheit, let me be specific, because I know some of you all live outside the United States, so I want to make sure I'm talking to the world, even if I am I need to be corrected or I am getting it wrong. However, under around 65, 64, 63 degrees, that's when you'll notice you'll feel less bites. When it goes above 70 degrees, that's when you'll feel more bites. If I were you, I would experiment with that. Test that out in your own home, so that way you know exactly what temperature you can withstand and what temperature they can withstand, and do your own experiments.
9. No-See-Ums find their victims through the carbon dioxide they breathe out, just like with mosquitoes. They may also be attracted to lactic acid. And 10. Despite how icky they are, some species actually do us a service. They are excellent pollinators of cocoa beans in certain areas, so you might be able to thank a no-see-um.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Maybe because I am representing people who are actually suffering from this, but to me, that's another one of those things where, and I'm not knocking this content creator, okay? This is nothing personal against this content creator, but more people have been saying that. A lot of people be saying stuff like this, but once again...
What's this? I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it lies.
That is not the truth, okay? That is not the truth. These things are no bueno. They're no good. I don't care what you think, how you wrap it up. We can figure out other ways to live without these things if it means that people are suffering. I don't care if it's 5%, 10%, 15%. That is too much suffering from the human population for those who are not suffering to say, well, hey, they're doing good deeds to the ecosystem and the environment. So you sufferers, you just should deal with it, because this is how we're going to help heal the planet. I'm not going to subscribe to that thought process. Now, if you can, if you want to, but I'm not subscribing by that, because these things are hurting people. They are destroying families. They are destroying lives. They're destroying lifestyles. And I would rather not have them than to have them, because we're going to sacrifice the 5, 10, 15, 20%, give or take, whatever, for this other bigger picture. No, I'm not subscribing to that. All right, so that was that video right there. Let's go on to the next one.
All new at 6, no-see-ums are small, silent, and leave a big mark.
Sorry, let me stop it real quick. So this one was about 5 months ago, okay? 5 months ago from WINK News.
Bug out locals and visitors on Sanibel Island and around Southwest Florida.
Wink News reporter Bridget Perchalski shows us why and what you can do to protect yourself.
Paradise has a price, and it might be paid in bug bites.
They attack us pretty good. It's like a little needle, I'd say.
The bite is more like a sting. It's really bad because you'll have, hundreds of them on your leg at once.
They're very aggressive biters.
The culprits? No-See-Ums. Nearly invisible biting midges that can leave welds for days.
Growing up on the island, we've always had no-see-ums. After Hurricane Ian, they have gone, I don't know what the right term is, but I'm going to say nuclear. Like, they're really bad.
And he's right. It's beyond nuclear. It's beyond nuclear. This is a crisis. It's an invasion. It's an infestation. And what they're doing is they're making it seem like it's on the coastal areas or it's just outside. This is what I said in the last video, propaganda, which is half truths, some truths, partial truths, the truths, and straight lies. It's a combination of all. That's what propaganda is. Look it up. The world has been doing it forever, especially the United States of America. And I live here, okay? And the United States has been doing propaganda PR for a very, very long time. This is propaganda, and I don't understand. We don't understand why. But I'm glad that he said that it was nuclear, because that is truth. And also, they mentioned that their bites sting. Yes, they absolutely sting, as I said before. So I'm glad at least they said that truth right there.
It's actually pretty breezy today, and that helps. No-see-ums struggle in windy weather, but on ideal, calmer beach days, they can feel unescapable. So what's the best way to fight back?
Controlling no-see-ums is hard. Experts say your best defense is to use bug spray with DEET, avoid dawn and dusk, and cover up with clothing.
Controlling no-see-ums is impossible. Come on, why are we lying? Why are we lying? I have no idea, but hold on to your butt. You're going to have to hold on. You're going to have to hold on, because I don't know why they're lying, but they are. They're not controllable by us human beings individually. This takes government intervention. This takes scientists' intervention. This takes pest control intervention. This takes medical practitioners' intervention. We individually cannot beat these bugs or control them. All you can do is repel them, piss them off, but guess what? They'll be back, like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Even in the summer.
We've started carrying more leggings and more pants, which is unusual even during the summer, because people do get bit up and eaten a lot.
The Lee County Mosquito Control District is looking for long-term solutions.
You would either have to inject insecticides into the soil, which is not really an option nowadays, or you could flood areas and make it permanently flooded, but that could also cause a problem where it would breed mosquitoes. So it's a very tricky situation.
But until there's a real fix, it's you versus the no-see-ums. On Sanibel Island, Bridget Perchalski, Wink News.
No-see.
I can't believe that. It's you versus the no-see-ums. I mean, this is ridiculous that they would even say something like that. It's you versus the no-see-ums. No, it's us. It's us versus these bugs. It's not just you versus them. It's us versus them. That sounded like you're on your own. And that's the reason why I've made this channel, and we have done what we've done as a unit, as a team, as a group of people who are looking to fight this issue. There are 772 members in this group. And every time I do a video, I'm going to show this group so you can see the numbers are growing. I mentioned in the last video, when I joined this group, it was 500 members, almost 500. It's only been about a year and a half. I am a year and a half in personally. Some of these good folks here are years in. Some are 5 years in. Some are 10 years in. Well, I don't know if anybody is 10 years in, but maybe somebody is 10 years in. But I know somebody who was 5 years, 6 years in, 2 years in. And you'll never think that you'll be any amount of years in when this first starts. When this first starts, you will think, oh, I can probably get rid of this in a couple weeks. Oh, maybe I can get rid of this in a couple months. Oh, maybe I can get rid of this in a couple days. It does not work, you all, okay? So that's why I am here. That's why this group is here. That's why there are folks in this group that are also doing what they can to help spread the word, to help fight. Because what they said right there, that's not true, okay? So I believe this video is ending. Let me see if there's anything else that they want to say.
No-See-Ums or midges are not to be confused with midge flies, which are also causing issues in Southwest Florida, usually near the water. Midge flies resemble mosquitoes, but unlike mosquitoes, they don't bite humans. However, they're almost equally annoying.
I don't believe a single thing that these newscasters and government says anymore. I've lost all faith in the news and government, because to have a doctor describe you and prescribe you as delusional, which they have done to a lot of us in this group, it changes your whole mindset up. It changes your whole world up. And it makes you think, what else could the government and these folks be hiding that I think is true, but is really not true? Or vice versa. I don't believe it's true, but it's really true. What else if this is something that they would just pin you as delusional and try to prescribe you on some medicine? Let's go on to the next one.
Well, we expect sand gnats in the air this time of.
My bad, I forgot. I told you I was doing this off the cuff. I'd never seen this, but I just want to show you all. This was also 5 months ago as well too. So just so you can see, that last one was 5 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 5 months. And this one is also 5 months ago from WASAV3. That is the news network that is reporting this one. And I also have not seen this video as well too.
You're right, but if it feels like they've been worse than normal, it's not just your imagination. WSAV's Nakaya Harris spoke with an expert about what's going on.
Does it feel like you've been swatting away a lot more of those sand gnats or no-see-ums lately? Well, an expert tells me it's not just you.
So it seems definitely, at least according to the people out in the field, and what we're seeing kind of in the nets is, yeah, it's been a busy sand gnat year.
We feel the pest every year, and typically it's because of the warm temperatures. But Chatham County Mosquito Control Director Turi Carlson says recent weather events could also be the blame, creating more mud, which allows gnats to thrive.
We were in March, and into the middle of March and early March, there was a little bit of rain. Some of that snow melt was still kind of keeping the ground fairly moist, and the trees hadn't woken up that year to kind of drink the water.
Luckily, their chemicals to target mosquitoes are also knocking off the gnat population in the process.
If it's a beautiful 70-degree day at 2 o'clock, the gnats are out at 2 o'clock. But if we start to get into the mid-80s, the gnats will start squeezing themselves closer.
Okay, I'm watching this and I'm listening to him talk about gnats and sand gnats, and then also it's titled No-See-Ums, but something's not connecting. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I could be wrong. That's why I was letting it play for a lot longer on this one, because I don't know what he's talking about or what he's saying, but let's continue.
To the sunset and act more like mosquitoes. So we'll have a bigger impact on the gnats.
Carlson says keeping track of disease-transmitting mosquitoes is crucial, but for gnats...
Currently, we do not worry about gnats transmitting disease to people. So they are...
Okay, once again, and this is the thing. He's saying the word sand gnats, but then we have no-see-ums down here. We need to have some clear definitions and not this general term, because no-see-ums is a general term. It's the street term, as the kids say, right? It's the street lingo for something else. However, it's easier for us to say no-see-ums than to say the 4,000 or 5,000 or whatever 1,000 word species these things are. And when it comes to sand gnats, in this situation, that's not what we're dealing with at a mass level. We are dealing with biting, microscopic demons from hell.
Really just a nuisance problem right now in the United States.
He gives a helpful tip to help you through the season.
One of the easiest ways that works for mosquitoes and gnats is creating a wind current, using a fan. Mosquitoes and gnats are weak flies.
Now, I know y'all heard that once again. What did y'all hear? Did y'all hear something that I heard? You know what it makes me want to do? It makes me want to do this.
Shut the fuck, shut. Did I say, no? Oh, shit. Say it again. Say something else. Oh, say something else. Say something else, nigga.
Man, This whole use a wind, use a fan, that's what they keep saying. And the way that it's coming off to me as if these people aren't dealing with the issue. Like, it's not affecting them personally. They're being hired or they're being told to talk about it, to mention it, to speak on it, study it. But in terms of experience it, I don't think these people are experiencing it. I could be wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. What we need is help. We need relief. We need to be listened to. But this whole part right here of using the wind and fans, that only gets you so far. It does not work. It does not keep them out of things, okay?
So if you can create a little wind current, you can kind of keep them off of you.
Now, we are also told the bulk of mosquito season starts in May and ends in November. Reporting in Chatham County, Nakaya Harris, WSAV News 3, on your side.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Can no-see-ums live in your hair? Have you ever wondered if those tiny biting insects known as no-see-ums could be living in your hair? Let's break this down and find out.
I know some of y'all probably like, he still don't got it by now. No, when you're doing this off the cuff freestyle with no type of script in your face, you're going to forget too, right? Especially when you're literally being bit and you're trying to make a video about being bit so other people are aware. However, this is 3 months old right here, all right? Insects and invaders, 3 months old right here, okay? That's what this is. As of the current date of this video, when I post it, this is 3 months old.
No-see-ums, also called biting midges, are tiny flies that are often hard to see with the naked. They are notorious for their painful bites, which can leave you with itchy red welts. These insects are most active during dawn and dusk, seeking out humans and animals for blood meals, which only the females do. Now, when it comes to their living habits, no-see-ums do not make a home in human hair.
Okay. We gonna do it one more time. I know y'all know it already. Where am I going with this one? You already know where I'm going with this one.
What's this? I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it lies.
They keep saying these things don't infest in our hair and our bodies. Are these people that are creating this content dealing with this issue? Or are they just hearing and Googling and looking at certain reports and articles before they go on here and post information? Because that's the reason why this channel exists. There was too much of this happening that wasn't being created, where content wasn't being created by actual victims of this crisis. And especially when you have content creators use AI or use some type of artificial voice to create the content to share information, that takes away from the authenticity. So that's the reason why I decided to sacrifice myself, at first starting off with my voice, but I also have used my name and likeness in other areas. I just didn't want to do it right here, right now on this channel. But trust me, my name and my likeness is on the line when it comes to this, okay? That's why I call it a sacrifice, because this can affect your public notoriety. It can affect your perception. It can affect your jobs. That's the reason why some people don't want none of their name being attached to any of the content that they are doing, creating this or creating awareness. And when it comes to using my voice, I believe that my voice, whether it's annoying or not to you, that's okay either way. But at least you know it's real, because no AI is going to be able to talk this smooth. At least not yet, y'all. Not yet, but it's coming. Trust me, it's coming. But not yet. No AI is going to be able to give you this kind of emotional passion and the inflations or inflections in your voice. Not right now. So I thought that was important for me to be able to do this, because I can do exactly what they're doing. I'm very technology proficient. I do this for a living when it comes to creating either content or AI systems and tools and products and services. I do this for a living. This is what my business is about. However, I personally wanted to give you guys my voice and my experience, so that way if you're going through this, you know you're not alone. And this does not make you feel like you're not alone.
Their life cycle and behavior do not support residing in hair. After they bite, female no-see-ums typically look for moist environments like riverbanks or marshes to lay their eggs. They do not nest or live on a host's body. Their main goal is to feed and then move on. From a pest control perspective,
their main goal is to feed and move on. I wish they move on. I wish they would move on like two couples breaking up and it ain't gonna work out. Move on. This ain't that. These want to stick around and cling to you like you owe them $10, and they will stay on you forever until you pretty much pass out and die. As long as you're living, these things will use you as an ecosystem. And that is the problem with these creatures. You are their food, their breakfast, their shelter, their entertainment, their bed and let's get it on, no Marvin Gaye. You're all that to these things. And you will continue to be that until you are dead and gone. That's why this is a crisis.
Finding no-see-ums in your hair is quite unlikely. If you notice bites around your scalp or hairline, it is more probable that the insects landed there to bite and then flew away. The signs of no-see-um bites include small, itchy red welts that usually appear on exposed skin. Sometimes, these welts can be found near the edges of your hair if the area is accessible to the insect. If you are dealing with no-see-ums, there are practical pest control measures you can take. Using insect repellents that contain DEET can be effective.
Okay, we gonna do it. We got to do it one more. We gonna do it one more time.
What's this? I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it lies.
These are lies. These are lies. No, all this stuff here is lies. I don't even want to play the rest of this video. Y'all can watch this video. Y'all see the title. Go ahead, look it up if you really care about it, looking at it, because I just can't stand listening to the lies continuously, especially when it's from an artificial voice. So let's go on to the next one. And this is the last one right here.
A new report from 2019 and 2023.
Oh, I almost remember, but I didn't remember. 2 weeks. This was done 2 weeks ago, and this is by ABC News. 2 weeks ago, okay?
It shows from those years, NDM-CRE infections in the U.S. surged by 460%, and the CDC says they are both hard to detect and treat. ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Lok Patel is here to break it down for us. So, Dr. Patel, what is an NDM-CRE infection, and why is there such a big surge?
You know, that name NDM-CRE is a scientific way of describing why this bacteria earned the moniker nightmare bacteria, because it produces an enzyme, a molecule that gives it resistance to most of our strongest antibiotics. And these infections are mostly happening in healthcare settings, but as you mentioned, cases have gone up about 460%. 2019 to 2023, likely from a combination of limited testing and awareness, but also from gaps in infection control.
Now, you're probably wondering, why would I show this video last, and why am I showing this video at all? Okay, and I understand that. I definitely understand why you would be wondering that. So let's give it a quick, because we gotta take a second here. No-see-ums are a bug. They're an insect. But there are other things around no-see-ums that we're not being told. There's connections that need to be made, and I want to help make some of these connections. Also, once again, if you want to make some of the connections on your own, go to this group, because a lot of people have different experiences, they have different opinions, they have different ways that they can share their connections with you. So go through this group, and you can make some connections on your own. I just thought it was important to see this one right here because of the fact that there's bacteria, there's connections with fungus, there's connections with, there's this word, this M word, I can't even think of it right now. I'm not even gonna try to say it, all right? I'm gonna put it in another video, okay? But bacteria and fungus are big connections with these bugs. And why they're so resistant. Biofilms, that's something else that we've been looking up. I've personally looked up myself, and others have as well too, on what makes these bugs so resistant. And the fact that they're even reporting on this, and this whole 460% going up between this 2019, 2023, if anyone says there was no connection to this in the epidemic that we're facing with no-see-ums, I would have to disagree with you, okay? I'm not saying that I am factually correct, but I would disagree if you said there was no connection between this particular report or what they're talking about and what we're dealing with no-see-ums.
So what are the symptoms people can look out for?
You know, there are no specific symptoms related to NDM-CRE because this bug can infect and cause UTIs, pneumonia, wound infections, can even get into your blood and cause sepsis. But kind of the big clinical sign that we're looking for is that people might get these infections and they're not getting better, or their lab tests are coming back and they are resistant to all of our traditional antibiotics.
Now, what does that sound like? They are resistant to all of our traditional. That sounds like no-see-ums. That sounds like a super bug to me.
And I want to add one other risk factor that we may be looking at is the increased rates of global travel. And as these resistant bugs, which can have geographical domains, are now able to spread throughout the world.
The CDC says this is hard to treat. So what happens if you do get one of these infections?
It is horrifyingly hard to treat, which is why this is raising awareness and getting labs on edge. Now, because this bug is resistant to most of our antibiotics, there are only 2 IV antibiotics that we know can likely treat this. Otherwise, there may be some more specific treatments available based on what the results show, because sometimes these bugs come back and we may be able to use old antibiotics or a combination. But this is essentially why control is so important and not relying on potential treatments.
How can we protect ourselves from this?
You know, a big thing comes down to hygiene, not only personal hygiene, but in healthcare settings, making sure that healthcare settings are hand washing and proper infection control protocols are followed. But Diane, this is a larger study, a larger story about superbugs, antibiotic resistant bacteria.
Now, I didn't see this, but what did I say earlier about superbugs? And that's what I'm saying. Super bugs. We're dealing with super bugs. And it's just interesting how, no, it's beyond interesting. It's ridiculous how slow our governments around the world are moving. I'm even more disappointed in the United States government as well, because this makes no sense how slow that they are moving. And it's because we are not speaking loud enough. Anything that has ever been heard and change has been made, it was only because enough voices got together and spoke loud enough and demanded answers, demanded relief. Okay? We have to demand it. They will not give it. We have to demand it.
Which are a looming global health threat. Some public health officials call this the largest public health threat. They already infect and kill millions of people every year. So antibiotic awareness is very important. Make sure you're responsible with how you use them. Don't share them. Don't use them if you don't need to, and take prescriptions as followed.
And before you go, Dr. Patel, I want to ask you about the suspected case of a rare mosquito-borne illness on Long Island. What do we need to know about that, and how can we protect ourselves?
This is a suspected case, Diane, of chikungunya, a tropical disease which may not be so tropical as these mosquitoes are present in the United States. Typically, that virus, which is spread from the Aedes mosquito, same mosquito that spreads dengue and Zika, is in tropical areas in Asia and Africa. But this is a suspected case in Long Island. What researchers want to know now, is this a locally acquired case, meaning this virus is spreading here in New York, or is it a mosquito that may have hitched a ride on a plane, or a travel case? So important to pay attention to what's kind of unfolding here, but also take all those necessary precautions to protect yourself against all kinds of bites from nasty critters like ticks and mosquitoes that can spread disease.
All right, Dr. Lok Patel, thank you.
All right. So, once again, if you haven't seen this, please help us. We are at 60 verified signatures. We should be at 100 by now. Matter of fact, we should be at 1,000 by now. And your help can get us there faster so that we can talk to different decision makers, so we can talk to different stakeholders, we can talk to practitioners, we can talk to the people that could actually do something about this. Please go to change.org, type in No-See-Ums. It is so simple, very simple. Go to search, type in No-See-Um, and it should be about the second or third listing, if not the first listing you find. It is super simple. My goal was to make this as uber simple, as easily as possible for you to be able to help support the cause. And here's an explanation right here. As you can see, this will be updated over time. But if you want to actually share your story, or you want to be interviewed to share your story, there's 2 ways you can do so. You can click this button right here, and you will just fill out a simple questionnaire. You can fill this out as anonymous if you want. And when it comes to the interview, you can also sign up for an interview, and you will be interviewed. And it will be helpful if you weren't afraid to share who you are and what you've been going through. But if you are afraid to do so, or you have reasons to do so outside of just fear, it's okay. There's no judgment. But you can do so, and we will also post your story as anonymous either way, okay? The reason why I'm saying that with passion and vigor is because when it comes to anonymous, I'm just letting you know, Every time that we share anonymously, we're giving all the people who are hiding this more opportunity to come up with excuses, right? So if everybody shares anonymously, we are giving them reason to come up with excuses. And like I said, even on here, I share my likeness. So there's nothing that I'm hiding from you. I just don't want to put everything everywhere all the time. That's all I'm saying. However, I have put myself on the line. Others are putting themselves on the line. And I appreciate every single one of you that has already contributed to this petition. It has been a blessing, okay? And I wish we would have started this sooner. We should have did this years ago, but that's okay. It's here now. We are here and we can do this. So if anything else, please check out this Facebook group. If you're going through this or you know somebody's going through this, share this with them, share this petition with them, and let's make a difference. I'll be back with the next video. Other than that, please like and subscribe to the channel right here. This is going to be the next video on the channel. And I appreciate your family. Thank you. Peace and love. I'm out.